So today we are continuing with substitution. So in these examples we are going to be substituting in some negative numbers and seeing what happens to our formula and how we calculate these. So our first example, we're going to say that c equals -2. So let's find the value of c plus 5. So we are applying our skills from the previous lesson where we're substituting in place of c, we're going to swap it out for -2, and we're also going to need to apply our integer skills for these questions. So we have replaced this c, so we've replaced c by -2, and now we need to calculate -2 add 5. So -2 add 5 is 3. Our next one is c subtract 7, so we are going to replace our c with -2, which gives us -2 subtract 7. So -2 subtract 7 is -9. And then our last question here is 15 subtract c. So again, we are replacing our c with -2. So to give us 15 subtract -2, using your skills of integers again, this becomes 17 because we need to watch out for this double negative. If you are subtracting a negative, it's the same as adding a positive. So 15 subtract -2, same as 15 add 2 to give us 17. So again, watching out and applying your integer skills and your previous substitution skills from your last lesson. If you could copy these examples down before we move on. Okay, example 2. In these examples, we're going to say that a equals -1 and b equals -5. So we need to find the value of 2a plus 3. So because we know a is -1, we're going to substitute in a for -1. So we're going to swap out this a here for -1. So this means 2 times a, add 3. So we're going to make it 2 times -1, add 3. We now need to start applying our BODMAS skills as well. So we must do the multiplication before we do any other sort of addition. So 2 times -1 will give us -2, add 3 to give us 1. Next one is 2a plus 3b. So this means 2 times a plus 3 times b. We know a is -1, so we need to do 2 times -1, and then we're going to add 3 times -5. So 2 times -1 is -2, and then 3 times -5 is -15. So because this is a negative, we're just going to do -2 subtract 15 to give us -17. And then last one is 4a subtract 2b. So this means 4 times a subtract 2 times b. So 4 times -1 subtract 2 times -5. Now what we're going to do here is we're still going to use our BODMAS skills. So we're going to do 4 multiplied by -1. But we're going to imagine that this symbol here is joined to this 2. So whatever sign comes in front of your 2, similar to the previous topics in algebra, things like factorising and so on, you imagine that that is a -2. So -2 times -5 gives you +10. So we will have -4 adds 10. So 4 times -1 gives us... So we will have -4 add 10 because 4 times -1 gives us -4, and then -2 times -5 gives us +10. So the -4 add 10 gives us 8. Okay, so example 3. So we can evaluate the expression 4 subtract 3n by substituting different values for n. So this is going to be our expression that we are going to substitute into and evaluate. So let's say that n equals -5. Okay, so 4 subtract 3n, we're going to replace this n with -5 to give us 4 subtract 3 multiplied by -5. We're going to apply our BODMAS skills. We need to do the multiplication first, so this is -3 times -5 to give us +15. So 4 plus 15 gives us 19. And then we're going to use the same formula, and this time we're going to say, well, n is equal to -1.5. So we can substitute in decimal numbers, that's totally fine. So we've got negative 1.5. So 4 subtract 3n, we're going to replace this n with negative 1.5 to give us 4 subtract 3 times negative 1.5. We're going to take this negative 3 times by negative 1.5 to give us positive 4.5. You should manage this, but if you need a calculator to do these decimal calculations, that's totally fine for these examples. And then 4 add 4.5 is 8.5. So using these examples, can you pause the video here and try these two questions? Okay, so first one, we're substituting in n for negative 6, so you should have 4 subtract 3 multiplied by negative 6. So negative 3 times negative 6 gives us positive 18. So you should have 22 for that one. Our next one is n equals negative 2.5. So 4 subtract 3 multiplied by negative 2.5 give you 4 plus 7.5, because negative 3 times negative 2.5 gives you 7.5. And you should have 11.5. So well done if you got those. The next expression we're going to evaluate is n squared plus 6 by substituting in different values for n. So this time n equals negative 4. So we've got n squared, so we're going to replace the n with negative 4 to give us a negative 4 squared. Remember, square terms means you are timesing it by itself, so we're going to do negative 4 times negative 4 to give us positive 16. So negative 4 times negative 4 gives us 16, add 6. So we need to do this part here first using our BODMAS skills to give us 22. Next one is n is equal to negative 0.6. You can use your calculator to help you here if you need. We are replacing the n squared with negative 0.6 squared. You can do negative 0.6 times negative 0.6 to give you 0.36, positive 0.36, add 6 to give you 6.36. So here we're practicing substituting in negatives and decimals because we can do this. So again, pausing the video here, can you please try these two questions using your calculator for the decimal square terms if needed. Okay, so first one, you should have replaced the n with negative 7. So that's 49 plus 6 to give you 55. So well done if you got that. Next one is negative 1.2 squared, add 6. So 1.44 add 6, give you 7.44. So again, well done if you got those. So our last set of examples are going to look like this. So we are going to start including brackets and squared terms. So let's say P equals 5, Q equals 2, and R equals 3. We've defined the value of these three expressions. So let's start with the first one. Feel free to pause here if you want to give them a go yourself. If not, we will go through them together. So the first one is P plus R, and notice the brackets are all around that because that is all being squared, meaning that we need to work out what's in the middle of this bracket first before we square it. So we're going to substitute in our 5 for P, our 3 for R. So we've got 5 plus 3, and this is all being squared. So 5 plus 3 is 8, and then 8 squared is 64. So that's where that 64 comes from. So BODMAS, the brackets come first because that's what your B stands for. So you need to do what's inside the brackets first. 5 plus 3, and then we square it. So our BODMAS, you need to do your 5 plus 3 first before you square it. Next one, P, Q subtract R, and then this is all being squared. So you need to substitute in, so P for 5, Q for 2, R for 3. You need to do what's inside your brackets first, yes, but you also need to apply BODMAS to your brackets. So we're going to do the multiplication first. 5 times 2 is 10, then subtract 3, which is 7, and then 7 squared gives you 49. So 7 squared is 7 times 7. And our last example, we've got a fraction in here. You need to understand that fractions are simply just a division. So this means QR all squared, and then it's being divided by 4. So we're going to do 2 times 3, replacing the Q with 2, R with 3. So 2 times 3 is 6. That's all being squared, so 6 times 6 is 36. Then you're dividing it by 4 to give you 9. So again, if you could pause the video, copy these examples down. And well done if you tried them before I went through them. Good work.